cracking, everybody? New video. So one of the subscribers to the channel had commented and asked me to do a video on how to survive the shoe, right? And it's not his first time asking for that. And as you know, I don't really tell too many stories about prison. But I did start to make that video, right? And then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do something different. So really quick, surviving the shoe, how to prepare yourself, right? To survive the shoe, to survive prison, to survive basically anything that is mentally taxing, but especially prison, right? We'll say, and these things, they can be applied to anything in your life and actually help you in a lot of ways. So I would say 3 things are the major things you got to do. And that's exercise your mind, number 1. Exercise your body would be number 2. And number 3 is the ability to compartmentalize. Okay? So a strong mind and a strong body is, a lot of guys in the shoe, a lot of guys in prison that don't expand their minds, don't read a book, don't try to learn things, and instead watch TV and get wrapped up in living through what they're watching on TV, those are the guys that wind up losing it. Those are the guys that wind up losing their fucking marbles. I know dudes, when I was in the shoe, there were guys that would put a blanket over their TV or face their TV towards the wall for months at a time and just read and just study. There were guys that would strip down to just their boxers, not put on their jumpsuit, not put on socks, at night lay on the concrete, not on the mattress. And it was their way of preparing their body for, what if the cops take everything from me? Well, they've conditioned themselves to become accustomed to that, you know. So there's different things you can do for yourself and do to yourself to be able to adapt. But anyways, those are my 3 things. You know, read. Focus on trying to learn something. Don't be stuck in a box, you know. Physical exercise releases a lot of stress, a lot of tension. Being able to compartmentalize shit in prison is extremely important, right? In prison, when you're, you know, say you have someone pisses you off on the yard or whatever, when you interact with someone else that is not that individual, especially in your cell, you don't take that to your cell. You don't share that. That has nothing to do with your cellmate. You could be mad at whoever the fuck you're mad at, and while you're mad, when you're talking to someone else, it has nothing to do with them. So you put that issue in its own box because now you're talking to this individual. Out here, you can do that too, you know. Like, I don't play the argument game, you know, especially with my wife. I think it frustrates her sometimes, right? Because I'm like, all right, you know, I hear her out, all right, I'm not into arguing. I say what I have to say and she says what she has to say, and then that's it, right? But my wife she likes to, she's like a dog on a bone with it sometimes. But anyways, what I really wanted to get into Okay, sorry that was brief and I could do a lot better. I know that. But what I really wanted to talk about, especially with all this shit going on, is, now this first part I want to say, this is a story I was told, the very first part, on the origins of Pelican Bay. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard it from multiple sources while I was incarcerated. So here it goes. Pelican Bay supposedly was built off of an idea of a prison that the British built. The British built a prison with the intent of breaking members of the Irish Republican Army. The Irish Republican Army had been a thorn in their sides for a long time. And supposedly the British built this prison that could break people down mentally. And allegedly it started to work in a lot of cases. And so right away California said, well shit, we could use that. And so they built Pelican Bay. And so when you go to the bay was unlike anything. It's unlike any other prison. That shoe is the shoe. I remember not arguing, but clowning vatos that would talk about they were in Corcoran shoe, and I would tell them you were in that safe. You know, which it's just bullshit, you know, but I would tell them you were just in that safe. You had group yard and all that, you know, but Corcoran shoe was serious, but it was just, you know, some bullshit and going back and forth. But going into Pelican Bay, it's like you're not underground. But when you go in that place, it's almost like if you went into a bunker. Okay, there's no windows anywhere. Not in the corridors, not in your cell. When you go into your housing unit, right, into your blocks, and then you go into the housing unit, your pod, all you see is white. You go into your cell and it's all concrete that's painted white. So you got your white bunk. You have a concrete slab that's supposed to be your desk and a concrete. It's all one piece. It's like this, like that, and then it's flat here, and then your toilet would be here. Front of the cell would be over here, right? If I'm looking this way, and that's where you would put your TV on that slab. That's white. The front wall, which is like a cheese grater, all full of holes, is white. Being able to see through that whole entire door and wall is a white wall. Everything is white, and it's for a reason. Your food. I know a lot of guys could remember for a while there they were steaming or boiling all of our food, right? And not giving us salt and pepper packs. You couldn't get hot sauce or any of that back there. And so, and there were a lot of murders happening at one time in the shoe. All right. Somebody called me FaceTime and interrupted what I was saying. So I was talking about how the cells, everything in the pod was white. It was painted white. No windows. Then I got into the part where for a minute there was a lot of murders happening in the shoe. And so they started single celling a lot of people, right? I talked about how they were boiling the food or steaming the food and taking away the taste, not allowing us to have seasoning or flavor in the food. All of these things are deliberate. All of these things are methodical. They're all planned. And they're all based on science. to remove the senses of a human being is to tamper with them mentally. And it works on some people. I mean, it's proven to work on some people. And my thing is this. If it's true that this idea came from the British, that is what it is, right? And if it's true that California said, you know what, sounds like a good idea to us, that's two of the most civilized nations. You know, California's part of the United States, which is supposedly one of the most civilized. The Brits are some of the most civilized. And yet, people within these two most civilized nations devised a strategy to drive men insane, and felt that that would be a good idea, and that that would be a great experiment. And and again, it worked. It worked in Britain, supposedly, with the IRA. And there were a lot of guys in California that lost their minds, you know. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is all the stuff that people did to bring awareness to what the shoe was, and getting it to where everybody got to come out of the shoe and have the shoe not being used the way it was used before. You know, all of that was great, man, you know, exposing that and getting people out. But now, those of you that pay attention to the posts that I put up, you know, today I put up a copy of a memo that went into effect all across the entire CDC, where they're gonna just lock everybody down, you know. I understand trying to stop the spread of this, right? But how is this going to be abused? Like, how is this going to be used as a means to punish people further? That's my concern. You know, in the memo it says that they're gonna clean the showers in between use. They're not gonna do that. They're just not gonna run showers. Which, I mean, everybody bird bats anyways. Fuck those showers in the day room. You know, you bird bat, take your time, do your thing. It's not the point. It's what you have coming, you should have coming. You know, in the comment section, I somebody had commented on another subscriber's comment, and I responded, and I put in a thing from Fox News, and people said, you know, another person told me, don't watch Fox News, it's fake. That's bullshit. That's what you've been, no disrespect, but that's what you've been manipulated into believing. And so that's a shame. But in in that clip that I attached to that comment, it talks about how in Italy, you know, all these people have died in Italy. And in Italy, where they put the strongest lockdown behind this virus, they wound up randomly testing some people. And even after that strong fucking lockdown, the harshest lockdown, it was still spreading. but none of them had symptoms. And that's the thing that people ain't fucking talking about enough. There's people walking around, who knows how many people have it right now, but it's not affecting them the way it affects other people. And I don't want to get sidetracked, because my thing is if you have a loved one who's in prison right now, call the prison. If not every day, every other day. And the reason why I'm saying this is because they need to understand that your loved one has support out here. And if they're denied treatment, you're going to make sure you're going to have an attorney look into that. Because if not, if they believe that their population, their inmate population is abandoned, then that means they can do whatever the fuck they want with them. And so we have to make sure that we let them know that our loved ones are truly loved and that their health is our concern. You know, it's funny how if you look at the memo I posted, the first ones they were concerned about, it seemed like, was their staff, the well-being of their staff. And then secondly, they mentioned the inmates. You know, there's going to be COs that are going to call off. The medical department in there is horrible, extremely horrible. And those quack doctors that they have in there, they're going to be calling off. The nurses in there, I remember running into nurses that didn't even know how to take blood pressure. It's a fucked up thing, man. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that. The Pelican Bay Experiment was an experiment on how to break people mentally to where they would never be the same. And these are people that people love. And so let's be aware of the brothers and sisters that we have behind those walls, that they can't go nowhere. They don't have a voice. You're their voice. So be that, all right? With that, I'm out.